Today, with this brief presentation, I'd just like to give a little bit of background on the energy sector and the different opportunities that exist within the energy sector for investment. So what have we been doing at the ministry? Well, primarily what we've been trying to do is create the enabling environment. We've been able to do this by a methodological method where we have been creating strategies, primarily our energy strategy, which was completed in 2023, that has goals of up to 75% renewables by the year 2030. We've also created all additional regulations that help with the procurement of utility scale production, such as the new RFP regulations, which now outline exactly how this procurement takes place, where it is now a tri-party evaluation done by the ministry, the Public Utilities Commission, and Belize Electricity Limited as the national distributor. We also did a landmark regulation in 2024 that liberalized the market, which now allows for distributed generation. Where previously, strictly speaking, people were not able to do things such as rooftop solars for both home, residential, and commercial applications and be connected to the grid at the same time. Now, under this new regulation, you're able to both be grid tied and also be compensated for any excess electricity that is fed into the grid. As I had stated, our primary policy that was made in 2023 focused on, one, increasing the shares of renewables in our electricity market, reducing overall costs, which means trying to procure new generation at the best available price available, and of course, improving the governance within the sector itself. But in order to know how to invest within the sector, we must first understand the sector. With this in mind, the ministry every year creates a new report that shows the situation analysis of the electricity sector in Belize. This report covers not just what the BEL grid does, as you can make reference to their annual report, but this also brings in the additional electricity that's done by non-connected BEL users. So for example, you have statistics here from the Spanish lookout communities, and also from the different microgrids that we have around the country. So as of last year, we currently have approximately 224 megawatts of installed capacity in country. But yet our peak demand is only 129 megawatts. One may say, well, it seems that we're pretty much covered. But in reality, a lot of this installed capacity is costly fossil fuel production, primarily from the way of diesel production, and also a 55 interconnection that we have with Mexico. And as we can see last year, Mexico has had their own struggles when it comes to energy security through a lack of energy production within the Quintana Roo area, which we are primarily connected to. What we are trying to do is, in order to improve our energy security, is seeing how we can best improve or substitute those imports from Mexico through new generation at a very manageable price. As you can see, year on, we have an increase in demand for electricity production, which is a good thing to have, especially in a country that's trying to develop its industrial and commercial sector. And our production is very mixed. Currently, right now, when you talk about only in-house production, we are already over 80% of renewable energy from in-house production. But overall production, including Mexico, we're just at about 45% right now. That's the large share that we do have importation from Mexico. As you can see from the domestic production, most of it comes from the way of hydro and biomass from the sugar refineries. This just shows an outline of how dependent we are on Mexico year on. You can see in 2024 we had a dip because of the different energy crises that we had within the region and the inability to import at certain times last year. Belize, we also have updated our national determined contributions. With that 75% of renewable energy target, we also have a target of reducing our emissions. Although Belize is already a net sink overall for GHG emissions, we are still trying to do our part by introducing renewable energies that do not create as much GHG emissions as, say, fossil fuel production. So with that in mind, what opportunities currently lie within the energy market for development? The first would be infrastructure, the grid. In order to introduce new variable renewable energies, we must make improvements to the grid, not just within the lines, but within the systems themselves, and introducing new smart grids. You'd have heard that BEL is already starting to introduce new smart meters, and that's only the first step in trying to introduce new forms of energy. This also helps not just with the utility scale energy, but also with the distributed generation so that you as a household can now contribute to the overall energy sector. There's also the opportunity for secondary retail markets. And what does that mean? That means is that a household themselves do not need to make the investments to put rooftop solars on their own buildings, or a commercial or an industrial entity. You can go to different ESCOs or energy provider companies that you can now partner with, where they can provide that infrastructure and enter into an agreement where they can either lease the agreement to you or somewhat lease the energy that that provides as well. We're trying to expand also the base of how electricity is consumed within the country. Just last year and this year, we're introducing our new e-mobility pilot programs. If you would live in Belize City, you would have seen that we have 2 electric buses currently running through the city, and that has shown a tremendous uptake from the citizens and improvement in how transportation is done within the city. We're also introducing electric buses on our highways. We are going to introduce 3 buses, one which will be a run from Corozal to Belize City, and 2 which will be from Benqueviejo to Belize City as well. Now, within the generation aspect, we are looking to invest in new generation, particularly in the realm of solar. We are currently preparing to launch our request for proposals for the investments in approximately 80 megawatts of solar. We're hoping that this 80 megawatts of solar can come online by the year 2027. And we're seeing that the official documentation will come out in Q1 of 2026. We're already starting to have market soundings, so within the next couple of months, you'll see different advertisements from the government of Belize press office, where we are holding different sessions to sensitize investors. We're also looking at the development of microgrids. Microgrids is at a much smaller scale trying to provide universal access. These equipment has to be sourced from within the country, and again, is in partnership with the Belize Electricity Limited. Now, once you start to introduce variable renewable energies, you need to look at how do you stabilize the grid. One of the methods of stabilizing the grid is the introduction of batteries, of grid-scale batteries, or battery energy storage solutions. With that in mind, we have partnered with the World Bank so that we can install approximately 40 megawatts of batteries at approximately 170 megawatt hours of batteries throughout the country. This will help not just to stabilize the grid, but also create new opportunities for energy storage from solar and also energy arbitrage. I did say at the beginning that we want to see how we can replace most of the generation that we have with Mexico. But Mexico is still an important partner. Depending on the time of day, Mexico can be our cheapest source of energy. So if we can charge our batteries when Mexico provides cheap power, we can then use that battery to push back that cheap power back into the grid. And what that will allow us to do is to lower overall rates and costs that will improve the commercial, industrial, and residential sectors. So in summary, what are we trying to do with the ministry? We're trying to create better enabling environments and markets, investments in solar right now, 80 megawatts, just as a starting stone. We have overall objective of introducing over 140 megawatts of solar by the year 2028. Introduction of over 60 megawatt of batteries, again by 2028. We have currently lined up 40. And seeing how we can improve the market for distributed generation. I had stated that we currently have introduced new regulations for distributed generations, and we're trying to see how we can improve those regulations so that the investment period and return on investment is for a shorter period of time. Thank you.